What is up, everybody? Good morning. Sorry if I'm a little sluggish. Still pretty early for me. Even though I've been up for about an hour and a half. Let's see who we got in the house here. Bird Blue, Joni, Lola, Vanessa, Cindy, Angel, Glenn, Baby, Marv. What's up, Marv? Return the Diamonds, Reach Into My Soul, Molly, Charlie, Cold Truth. What's up? Candace. Hey, Glenn, how you doing? Good to see you in here live. Michelle. All right, guys. So what we're going to do is basically hang out this morning. We'll most likely spend most of the time in the chat because what I'm thinking is if we all just kind of look for the breaking coverage or any information that's coming out, if you feel free to post anything that you see there in the chat. But I plan on playing all of the recent updates that have been put out by the media. Take a look at that. And then I'm hoping to get a call from hopefully Marv. I did see sent a link to Becky Patty. So if we're, by some reason we're lucky and she's like, okay, we'll see if she has about a minute or two for us. I did send a link out to Hoosier Cold Cases and Randy Grab It. So we might get a couple boots on the ground type calls if we are lucky. But before we do that, let's look at Richard Allen's updated case summary. I put out a video yesterday with it, but it's actually updated since then. Okay. Okay, so the last thing that we knew was that there was a hearing scheduled for the 22nd at 9 a.m. And then everything that was released in relation to that. But as of yesterday, it looks like on the 19th, an e-notice was issued and nothing was really there yet. But now we know there was a petition was filed. And the name directly, I guess you can't have that. I don't know. It's strange that I don't see his attorney's names there, but I'm assuming that's the way it has to be. Richard M. Allen, 21st. Limited appearance by attorneys. And it looks like these are all basically the media that's going to be in attendance. So we'll take a mental note of these here, and maybe we can catch some of them directly after the hearing. Hear what they got to say. What am I missing? Oh, there it is. So yeah, it's a petition to let bail. So I don't know if this is standard. I don't know if the way it was written out is just standard. Why wouldn't you at least attempt, to make bail? That's just my opinion. So maybe this is, if anybody has any legal experience, maybe you can kind of chime in and let us know, is a petition to let to bail, is that standard? Or do you only do that if you actually feel like you can fulfill the how it's outlined? Yeah, good to see you, Mel. Yep, Frank is at the courthouse line. So me and Frank talked a little bit yesterday, and he says he's going to be doing a lot of stuff for True Crime with Marvin Frank. I guess a lot of their stuff's going to be on, I think, like the Facebook group. So if you guys want to check any of that out, and then whenever he has any downtime, he's going to try to reach out. So we'll see how that goes. Okay. And then it looks like you got the pretrial conference January 13th of next year, and then the jury trial scheduled for March, looks like March 20th. But what was and what was really strange is, and I'm not sure if they don't have a judge yet, but they still have Ben Diener. Judge, is that how you spell it? Diener? Diener? Judge Benjamin A. Diener. But I'm assuming they just haven't gone in there and changed it. So I don't know how the recusal will affect him being part of that process. Glenn, you're nervous? Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's already been decided by Judge Gull to release it. And I'm assuming completely unredacted, except for maybe a name here or there. But I don't think there should be anything in there. There's not going to be any violent descriptions. There's not going to be, you just might have some names and a few redactions, but I think we should pretty much see it in its entirety. She's ready to hand it out right now. I think this hearing is just to see if they have anything to present to her that would make her change her mind. Yeah, hit up that poll. We're going to release it here in just a minute. Like I said, we'll be in and out of the chat. And I have some videos that I'll most likely throw on loop because we're still very early. It looks like the hearing doesn't even start for another 15 minutes, and I'm assuming it's going to be about an hour, maybe less. I myself will not be there live. So basically, anytime I find anything worth mentioning, you'll see me jump back here on the live. And if you guys have anything you want to share, feel free. But right now, I'm going to go ahead and put on some of the latest and most up-to-date information that's being released to the public. So let's take a look at that.
And charged with Delphi murders.
That's a good question. Now let's talk about that. I think I have an article. They explain it very well. At one point, we might read this whole thing. Let me share it with you guys in case you want to read along or screenshot it or whatever. But that is a great question. So this explains why they might seal the documents. But they also talk about bail. Here, let me find that. I think this is the wrong article. Bear with me a moment. I thought it was in this article as well, but this is well, I guess we can read this one as well. This is important. Okay, so the Tuesday morning hearing will take place in Delphi before Judge Francis Gull, an Allen County Superior Court judge who has been appointed as a special judge to oversee Allen's court proceedings. After Diener recused himself from the case. At the hearing, Gull will have to decide if the Carroll County prosecutor demonstrates by clear and convincing evidence that keeping the record secret is necessary to either one of these three: substantially serve the public interest, one; number two, prevent a significant risk of substantial harm to the prosecutor, other persons, or the general public, or avoid a substantial prejudicial effort to ongoing proceedings that cannot be avoided without prohibiting public access to the records. So if you're looking to keep the probable cause sealed, you have a very steep uphill battle. And I don't see anything right now falling into any one of these categories. So that those documents will be unsealed, I'm pretty sure. I don't know, bud. If he's trying to get bail, it sounds like he doesn't think they have a solid case. But then again, I don't know if he's trying to get bail. I don't know if that's just something standard that they do. You know, I would be upset if my attorney at least didn't petition for it. Like, he's like, oh yeah, they're not going to give you bail. Well, did you try? Well, no, I know. They're just not going to do it. Well, at least try. Damn. Reach into my soul. Well, he's probably more at risk in there. Hey, what's up, Don? All right, let me see if I can find that article here. Oh, here it is. It's the petition. I had a subscriber send this to me. I think he might even be in here. I won't say your name, but if you want to take credit, feel free. This is what I was looking for, right? Chia. Okay, petition to let to bail. See, I knew my grammar was good. Look, petition to let to bail. You guys have had it wrong the whole time. I was right. I don't know. Strange way to put it. Okay, so here it states, comes now. Let me zoom in for you guys here. Comes now the accused by counsel and pursuant to Article 1, Section 17 of the Constitution of the State of Indiana, Indiana Code 35-33-8-2, and Fry v. State, respectfully moves this court to conduct a hearing and then release the accused on his own recognizance, or in the alternative, to set a reasonable bail. In support of his petition, the accused avers the following. Okay. So if the judge finds any of these to be true, he may be released either by bail or until his next court date. That the accused, Richard Allen, was arrested and charged with murder on or about October 28th, 2022. That the defense has received and reviewed the probable cause affidavit that as of the time of the filing of this motion has been sealed. That because neither the proof of guilt is evident nor the presumption of guilt strong. So to me, the wording of this and it just seems very standard. You know, if you're going to file this type of paperwork, I think that's how it needs to be worded. Presumption of guilt strong. The accused is seeking a hearing to release the accused on his own recognizance, or in the alternative, to set a reasonable bail. And I am no expert, so I don't know. To me, it seems standard, you know. And it looks like the judge was like, okay, we'll just include that on the 22nd hearing. And the thing is, if you're going to keep a probable cause like that sealed, look, why wouldn't his attorney start attacking it immediately? What he's doing is he's trying to create doubt. If you're going to hide it, there's room for doubt somewhere in there, you know, because people don't know. When you don't have facts, you speculate. And wherever you are, either leaning one way or the other on the case, you know, you can be swayed. And right here, this is if they don't unseal it, this kind of rhetoric right here, let's say there is something very, very persuasive against Richard Allen within the probable cause, but they do not release it. And he continues on with this kind of stuff, you know, because he's seen the probable cause. It's been released to him. They have it. They must have received the probable cause sometime prior to the hearing. Yeah, that's very possible, Tom. They're not going to let him out. See you, Marv. Beach, are you referring to the one where he's asking for bail? I actually have that. We just didn't get to it. I'll be playing that now. We got a lot of time to kill, but we're going to be hanging out. Let me see if I can just play that clip by itself. I included it in a loop, but I think I still have the actual small clip. Oh, here we go.
Been following for years now. We now know the suspect in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German once out of jail while awaiting his trial. Tomorrow, a judge will decide if the documents surrounding the arrest will be unsealed.
And for the first time since his arrest, the suspect will be back in the same town where the girls died. More than 5.5 years ago, this happened.
Our Karen Campbell spent the day in Delphi, and she got a chance to talk with some of the family members or some of the members of the community. Everyone is looking ahead to that hearing tomorrow.
On Tuesday, all eyes will be on the Carroll County Courthouse, with only one entrance being allowed for public use. At 9 a.m., Richard Allen, the man accused in the deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams, will go before a judge. For those like Dan Gottschalk, it's one step closer to finding the truth.
This has drug on so long. I think the feeling of the community is if this gentleman is indeed guilty, we all hope justice is done and that we can at least get this episode of Carroll County history behind us.
For others like Randy Whitaker, he hopes everyone stays safe.
I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of police.
And security. The courthouse opens at 8 a.m. for the public. Seating inside this circuit court will be limited. There are no cameras, cell phones, or electronic devices allowed inside beyond the first floor.
So that makes me wonder what could happen, you know. I hope it don't, but it could.
I think they're probably very concerned about what's going to happen tomorrow and what influences inside this community and outside this community, given the state of affairs in our world. We just hope no one else gets hurt in this process.
Again, Richard Allen expected to appear in court here tomorrow morning in the Carroll County Courthouse, and those in Delphi are hoping safety remains a top priority.
All right, so I'm going to play the media that I have here. It's probably going to loop a few times, maybe 4 or 5 times until they get going. But I just want to see if there's anything online or anything on Twitter right now, anything that any of the media put out quickly before kind of being ushered in to the courtroom. So hang out, guys, in the chat. I'll be close by, so if you need anything, shoot me an email. If you want me to present anything, shoot me an email. If you want to join me live, shoot me an email. I will send you a link. So for a little while, we're just going to be in the chat. And right after the hearing, we will go live and we will remain live for about 2 hours straight, waiting for any information to come out. And just kind of learning together how the process works, what's standard, what's strange, what should we be focusing on, and hopefully we can gather all that information over the next couple hours, okay? But I did dedicate my entire morning for this hearing, so anybody that's interested, stay tuned in here, and we're going to do our best to cover it, okay?
News tonight, we've been a story that we've been following for years now. We now know the suspect in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German once out of jail while awaiting his trial. Tomorrow, a judge will decide if the documents surrounding the arrest will be unsealed.
And for the first time since his arrest, the suspect will be back in the same town where the girls died. More than 5.5 years ago, this happened.
Our Karen Campbell spent the day in Delphi, and she got a chance to talk with some of the family members or some of the members of the community. Everyone is looking ahead to that hearing tomorrow.
On Tuesday, all eyes will be on the Carroll County Courthouse, with only one entrance being allowed for public use. At 9 a.m., Richard Allen, the man accused in the deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams, will go before a judge. For those like Dan Gottschalk, it's one step closer to finding the truth.
This has drug on so long. I think the feeling of the community is if this gentleman is indeed guilty, we all hope justice is done and that we can at least get this episode of Carroll County history behind us.
For others, like Randy Whitaker, he hopes everyone stays safe.
I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of police.
And security. The courthouse opens at 8 a.m. for the public. Seating inside this circuit court will be limited. There are no cameras, cell phones, or electronic devices allowed inside beyond the first floor.
So that makes me wonder what could happen, you know. I hope it don't, but it could.
I think they're probably very concerned about what's going to happen tomorrow and what influences inside this community and outside this community, given the state of affairs in our world. We just...
All right. So what's up, Ruckus? Good to see you. Ruckus left a comment here. There's no possible way that Richard Allen is getting bail. In Indiana, the bail for felony murder is zero, zip, nada. There's just his right to ask for bail. Follow up. The judge would have to change the charge, and that's not going to happen. Well, let's take a look here. Bossy did send me basically the outline on how it would possibly be given in this circumstance. So there's a possible chance he could receive bail, but it's slim. So let's take a look here. So this is from Banks and Brower. Can a person charged with murder get a bond in Indiana? See if I can a little bigger for you guys. And this is from 2019. In Indiana, and many other states for that matter, when someone is charged with the murder, they are normally held without bond. This generally seems inconsistent with the system that presumes someone is innocent. Being held in jail pending trial when you know you have been wrongfully charged can be incredibly frustrating, many times leading to severe bouts of depression. 35-33-8-2 states murder is not bailable when the proof is evident or the presumption is strong. In all other cases, offenses are bailable. This result is almost all people being charged with the murder, at least initially, being held without bond. However, that is not the final answer. The statute, evident proof and showing a strong presumption. This portion of the statute allows defendants to request by motion that the court allow a bail in a murder case when the proof is not evident or the presumption is not strong. And those are the exact words that were listed in his request, which makes me think it's just standard. You know, of course he's going to request it, but from our understanding, the evidence is there and it is strong. All right, where was I? The Indiana court have addressed this in numerous cases. The leading case is the area of law is Fry v. State, and that's what was quoted. See, it seems very standard. This is exactly word for word what was in the motion. First, the court found that the burden to establish defendant is not entitled to bail rests with the state. Burden of proof. The Supreme Court found it unconstitutional to place the burden on the defendant. Next was addressing what the burden means. The statute requires the proof must be evident and the presumption must be strong. The court found that this standard of proof falls somewhere between probable cause and beyond a reasonable doubt. And in this case, it sounds like they have plenty of probable cause. Basically, the court determined to utilize the preponderance evidence standard as the appropriate standard. Therefore, the statute must show that it is most more likely than not that the defendant committed the murder. If it is more likely than not that the defendant did not commit the homicide, then bail should be allowed. And I don't think that the prosecutor I don't think the prosecutor is going to come forward with these charges unless he 100% believed that they had the probable cause. I mean, why risk it? You know, that's like laying all your cards face up and saying, I'm all in. I'm feeling lucky. Thanks, Tom. Oh, let me take a look at that. Oops. Yeah, see, I can't play like YouTube videos and stuff like that. They'll hit me with a copyright. So I need like articles that I can just pull up. All right. Sorry if I'm going to skip a bunch of these chats so we can stay kind of current. Oh, here we go. Let me see if I can find something like that. Yeah, I'll see if I can find just a random one from a news outlet, and then I'll be able to put it up on the screen for you guys. All right. So and I will be right back. I'm going to go do some digging.
Wonderful.
All right, here we go. I'm going to pull that up real quick, guys. For some reason, that link wasn't loading for me. I had to remove a part of it, and then all of a sudden it just popped up. Wow. Yeah, he looks miserable. It's a familiar walk. Yeah, whoever knows him knew. Yeah, shout out to Bruiser. He's definitely watching. Got that right. No, somebody else is going to have their hand in his pocket from now on. Yeah, it's always good to see people shorter than me. They make me tall, feel tall. Yeah, he made that bald cop look tall. Let's watch that again. Good find, Glenn. Thank you for sending that. I really appreciate that. Yeah, if you guys find anything interesting, send it over and we'll cover it. What's up, Sean? Well, the thing is, it's kind of like a catch-22, Miss Thang. Because if they give him bond, that means that they don't have the evidence isn't that strong. And it means that there wasn't probable cause. So it has to be, what did the article say? Between probable cause and unreasonable doubt. So it has to lean towards unreasonable doubt, not from probable cause lean to, well, maybe he didn't do it. It's got to lean the other way. So if they don't have probable cause, it means that there's probably a higher chance that he's innocent. But I don't think that's the case. And I'm just thinking about what Doug Carter said when I say that. He seems extremely confident. So requesting bail, in my opinion, my untrained, unprofessional opinion, it's just standard. You know, wouldn't you want your attorney to at least attempt to get you out on bail when they denied it, or even on your own recognizance? That is true. Six feet. Yeah, right. I'm not tall at all. Yeah, he looks like the freaking bridge guy. That no neck, rounded shoulder look with some chicken legs. Hey, Sylvia. No, I think he's like 5'6", but he looks much shorter than 5'6". That bald cop looks like he's about 5'6", 5'8", and he's way shorter. No, he might be a lot. He might be taller. He might be about 5'10". SpongeBob SquarePants. Is he square? I think it's going to be a great day. I don't see anything strange happening. I think he will be denied any type of bail. They will release the probable cause. You know, pretty much showing they got plenty of evidence against this guy. Yeah, if you're going to be short, at least you better be cute. I call it the terrible threes. You can't be short, bald, and fat. You can't be all three. You can get away with two, maybe. But all three, you're Keg and Klein. Yep, everyone does deserve a fair trial. Yeah, and for us to just sit here without knowing all the details, saying that this man should be like brutalized or whatever, like, I mean, that should tell you something about your own brutality. Well, I threw a rock at him and he died. Oh, well, comes to find out he's innocent. Oh, my bad. But it's your fault for getting me all worked up. It's like, take some responsibility. Oh, thank you, Beach Fairy. Yeah, we played it a little bit earlier, and I have a similar version in my little loop. But I don't know, the one that I made for the loop sounds really loud. I don't know if I'm going to play that anymore. I don't know if it's loud to you guys or not, but in my headphones, it's really loud. Yeah, William. I mean, people, us, and I'm not innocent in all of this. Like, we're really, humans are just really, really brutal. We lean to that savage, the savageness of it. You know, it's like, oh, I'm peaceful. But all you need is a nudge, and then you're completely savage. Apex predator on planet Earth, that's for sure. An eye for an eye. Yep, but you got to make sure that is an eye. It looks like an eye. But what if it's not? What if it's a lowercase j? Sorry, my dad humor is pretty high level dad joker. Yeah, Sean, that's what Ruckus was saying. Ruckus is ex-law enforcement, so he knows a little bit about the system and how it plays out. And he was saying the same thing, Sean. He's like, I'm cold. Can somebody give me a jacket? I'm cold. Here you go, bitch. We found this one on the floor. Yeah, it's all this legal game, formalities, jargon. I'm glad they did, Ruckus. He needs to be there. He needs to be there in Delphi. He needs to see that family at every hearing. He needs to feel that energy. Your mom says even if they let him out on bail, it seems like he'd be safer in jail at this point. Yeah. I mean, I guess he would, but not by much. I guess if he got out and just went to some undisclosed location by the help of the U.S. Marshal, maybe, I don't know. Or if he just ducked out and disappeared. I don't know. Every day for him moving forward is a risk. And even that is not enough if he's guilty, you know what I mean? Every time I look at him, if you look up at the screen, there's something that happens to, like, I don't know, I feel like this weird, like I feel like I'm looking at somebody that I've been looking for a really long time. Sorry. Donut is my breakfast on the go. I apologize. Yeah, Bossy, I hope so. I hope he got a good seat. He said he's not good at getting up early in the morning, but I know Frank was there waiting, and I think he did get in line. I think Frank actually is going to get into the actual hearing. I don't know. I know Frank was trying to, I think they were communicating. So I'm hoping he got in there early along with Frank, and they're getting some good notes. But this video right here is, we don't need to hear somebody's description when they captured it. So shout out to Fox 59. Man, look at that. It looked like he had on a bulletproof vest as well. Or am I mistaken? I think we get a front shot at some point. Nope. The prison shoes. I don't know. I'm still. I think there's a lot of confusion. I mean, if she was aware that he went forward and was like, hey, I was on the bridge, his wife would be fully aware of that. For all we know, he was there with his family and he snuck off and did some fucked up shit. But even if he wasn't, there's rumors he was unemployed. A lot of criminals that haven't really, or there's a huge space in between crimes, or if they've never done anything before, usually the crimes happen, let's say, around a bankruptcy, a divorce, a breakup, something like that, where you're kind of down in the dumps. So, I mean, who knows? Maybe he was just down and out that day. His wife is at work. He had nothing better to do. He starts, chugging him down, maybe popping some pills. Who knows? Maybe doing something where he's not himself. And he's like, I'm just going to go for a walk. I'm going to go hike, my trail that leads over there by the bridge. Who knows? But we're going to find out. No, I don't think there'll be any new charges. Yeah, you got it, Mystical. I mean, if I wasn't doing this on my YouTube channel, I'd be sitting right here anyway, like on somebody else's channel trying to chime in. Or watching all the, anything breaking on it. Cold Truth says, and everybody go check out Cold Truth. That is the name of the channel. Says the burden of proof will be on the prosecutor. Therefore, he may decide not to prove his case before the actual jury trial. Does not mean the case isn't strong. Yeah, doesn't mean it's not strong. But the part I don't like is the defense playing that, playing that what if card to try to slide in that, to go against to create reasonable doubt. I mean, you still have people out there creating content and questioning whether or not this is even the guy. So there is room for doubt. And if they give any more leeway, the prosecution, I feel, is going to, or not the prosecution, but the defense is going to take advantage. But in the end, I don't think it's going to matter. I just don't want anything to happen to this guy. And they're not going to let him out. It just scares me because this case is so strange. You have to expect the unexpected with this case. I've never seen anything like it. Yep, that's a good defense, bud. And I know it was your sources. All those great sources. My experience with sources are like a close family member or a friend of a friend. Oh, Polly, what are they saying? Never say never, Miss Thing. I don't know if you've ever been in a situation where you didn't expect it, but all of a sudden, you had all these feelings that were kind of taking control, and you're like, oh my God. And you just become either really, really, really happy or really, really angry. And I think that's what happens when you see those people in the courtroom where it's almost like they can't control themselves. These fathers, they jump over, or family members, and they try to get to these suspects. Sometimes I wonder if it was even planned. I think it just might be overwhelming. He looks so bloated and evil. Let's take a look. Are you talking about this one? Or does he have a newer one? I have to go find it. Yeah, I think she did know, but I think she was confused. I mean, if she knew he came forward, why would she suspect? Because there was somebody that was going around early on, even a group of people saying that the bridge guy, and I know that in my mind, I thought they were referring to the new sketch. They had a new sketch. They said, oh, well, it's not the old looking sketch. People said, oh, well, if it's not the old looking sketch, they're referring to the bridge guy because he obviously looks like the sketch. So some people think that other people are confused when they themselves are confused. It's very complex. But yeah, if she's coming around saying, well, I mean, I'm pretty sure that is my husband on the bridge. That's his blue jacket. I don't know why law enforcement isn't coming forward. I don't know why. But he went to law enforcement and they cleared him. I don't think I have TikTok. Let me see if I can pull it up here. Okay, so I guess you don't have to have a TikTok to use it. This was sent to me just now by Cold Truth. Big shout out to Cold Truth. Once again, go check out that channel. That's Mel at Cold Truth. Thank you so much. Let's take a look. This looks good. This is another angle here. Let me see if I can enlarge this. Is there a way to make this full screen on here or no? No, let's just play it. Do you guys know if I can make this full screen? Not seeing any options here. Who is this? Small Town, Indiana TikTok.
And that was Richard Allen being led into the court.
So shout out to Small Town, Indiana and Cold Truth for sending this to me. He got a good, let's take another look. And this is on TikTok. Hey, what's up, Derek?
And that was Richard Allen being led into the courthouse for his probable cause hearing today.
Oh, that's awesome.
Pretty
Boots
decent
on the
video
ground.
by a rookie.
By a rookie. Nice. Ain't a rookie no more. Awesome. All right. Well, if you guys see anything interesting, make sure you send it this way. We're going to cover everything we can. Yeah, I'm going to have to get a TikTok. I'm starting to see more and more true crime up on that TikTok. Yeah, Jessica. He thought he would never get caught. Surprise, motherfucker. Hoosier Cold Case has just posted a live and said the family came out of the room looking pissed after they brought in RA. Oh, man. That's awful. Yeah, see, sometimes you can't control it. You don't know how you're going to feel. Sometimes your blood might start to boil. Literally. All right, guys, I'm going to go on the hunt for some new clips here and check with people. Sounds like the may be over. So let me double check here.
And Indiana County.
Wait, what you guys are saying? That's echoing? Dear Lord. Why the hell would it be echoing? I didn't even have my microphone on. Here, let me load these up individually. You guys taking acid? Yeah, sorry about that. I actually put those videos together this morning. Didn't get a chance to I think the volume's too loud anyway. No, I didn't have two windows open. It might have been coming through my microphone from my headphones into the microphone. I'm not sure. Yeah. So all that echoing stuff, that was Derek's fault. I told him not to do it. He didn't listen. Yeah, there's nothing updated just yet. But I'm sure right at about 10 Eastern time, everything's going to come flooding out of there. And they'll most likely release it instantly. Yes, Danielle. It's right here. We can watch it again. Wait, actually found out there's a longer one now. Let's see what that one looks like. There it is. This one's a WTHR. Oh, they just have it like on repeat or something. Yeah, Wish TV. I think Fox 59 reported on it as well. Well, I caught a clip. I think it was Rick Snay. He was like, somebody should hit him with a rock. I was like, no. Like, what? Who even talks like that? Like if anything's gonna ruin the case, hitting this guy in the head with a rock is gonna do it. I know he was just joking, but some people, like, when they get out there, I'm assuming they can't you can't put ideas like that in their head. All we see is Randy running out of the courthouse with Richard Allen in the torture rack, running, trying to snap him in half. The hearing is going on right now, and it should be finishing up here any minute now. True Crime Mama. They started seating at 8, and the actual hearing started at 9 Eastern time. Ixnay on the Rixnay. That's funny. Yeah, he's a funny guy. Wonder if he's going to be out there. Oh, I'm sorry. Yeah. The hearing should be starting here in a minute. But technically, they started seating about an hour ago. Yeah, throw some rocks when he's found guilty. Stone him. It's like some medieval shit. Stone her. Yeah, sorry. I think I keep misquoting that. Sorry, guys. Seating starts at 8. In my mind, to me, that's the beginning of the proceedings. It's like when they start at that time. And I have a feeling the proceedings aren't going to be very long. I mean, it could even be just like a quick 15, 20 minutes, maybe. Yeah, if you guys find anything as far as any updates, shoot me a link and I'll put it up for you. Let me see if I can find anything now. All the people who weren't allowed to go into the hearing might start popping up live. Let's take a look. Oh, here we go. 7 minutes ago, WTHR. Looks like this is Mike and Becky walking in. Let's take a look at this. Just going to make sure the audio's on because it sounds like the cameraman is saying something. I want to try to capture what he's saying. Yep, here comes Mike.
These are grandparents.
He seems like he's walking fast. Shout out to Mike and Becky. Good to see you guys. Looking good. Is that Kelsey? Yep. They're ready. Let's run that back.
These are parents.
The amount of shit they've had to go through since the 13th. Like this guy, if they have anything against him, he's not getting bail. They're not gonna seal the information. This, the judge wants him to face his accusers, and he should face his accusers. I hope not. Yeah, doors at 8, hearing at 9. Kinkle shackles? No, that would have to be for Kagan Klein. This bridge guy has chicken legs. So you're going to have to zip tie him. Yeah, he'll be protective custody for the remainder of his life, most likely. Or up until... Unless he's on death row. I don't know. He doesn't seem remorseful if he is guilty. That's for sure. Yeah, Tracy. That's I'm of that opinion as well. They're not going to risk the case, Well, for one, there's double jeopardy. You need new evidence to try to place charges on him again. So it looks like we're about 5 minutes into the hearing. I have a feeling it's going to be really quick. So
These are grandparents.
okay, let's see what else they've put out. So far the last hour, looks like you got Grizzly True Crime. She's live covering it. Shout out to Grizzly. That's all they put out so far is the family walking into the courtroom and then a couple shots catching Richard Allen in. So we'll hang out for a minute. What's up? Good to see you, kid. Good one. Good one, Derek. He was setting the tone and the pace. It's like, let's keep it moving. I lost you, caller. We had somebody calling in. Let's see if we can get him back. Caller, I'm not sure what happened, but if you would like to call back in, please do.
We've been a story that we've been following for years now. We now know the suspect in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German once out of jail while awaiting his trial. Tomorrow, a judge will decide if the documents surrounding the arrest will be unsealed.
And for the first time since his arrest, the suspect will be back in the same town where the girls died. More than 5.5 years ago, this happened.
Our Karen Campbell spent the day in Delphi, and she got a chance to talk with some of the family members or some of the members of the community. Everyone is looking ahead to that hearing tomorrow.
On Tuesday, all eyes will be on the Carroll County Courthouse, with only one entrance being allowed for public use. At 9 a.m., Richard Allen, the man accused in the deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams, will go before a judge. For those like Dan Gottschalk, it's one step closer to finding the truth.
This has drug on so long. I think the feeling of the community is, if this gentleman is indeed guilty,
All right. It looks like we do have a caller. This is William. How you doing, William?
What's going on, Sleuth? This is Willie.
Willie.
What's up, Sleuth? What's going on, chat?
Can you guys hear Willie? Let's try that. All right. What's going on? What's on your mind?
Oh, bro, I was just finally calling to say, man, I've been following this case for 5.5, 6 years since it happened. And finally, bro, kind of like, I know it's nothing to do like the family has to deal with, but getting up every day this last week and thinking about Delphi, you know what I mean? And going, well, damn, they got it solved, man. Cool. I can start looking at something different and finally getting that off your heart and off the brain. Staring at evil for so long, man, trying to find it, and come to find out it's normal. Evil looks normal. Kind of like Doug Carter was saying, though, it does shock everybody that somebody looks so normal can be so damn evil.
Well, that's the part that drives me crazy is like, how do we see it coming?
I don't think you see it coming, bro. I think you give your heart to the Lord, and you know what I mean. He points it out to you. I don't think it's a human thing that you can see it with.
Stay prepared. Spiritually.
Stay prepared, bro, is the only thing, and stay vigilant. And know the world that we're living in is full of sick weirdos.
Well, this morning, Becky, she made a post, and it was kind of like she put up a picture, and she said, when our lives were normal. So to me, for some reason, I got this weird vision. It was like something out of your control, like almost like a meteor just coming and just completely just demolishing your home. with some of your family members in there, it's just something you can't, I don't know if you can see coming when these creeps just kind of freak out and do this kind of stuff. I'm not sure we can.
No, I don't think you can. Have you ever been in a runaway diesel before? Kind of like that, man. You're driving along, all of a sudden, the engine just won't try to get it stopped or jump out of it. Or the Patties, man, the whole family, they've done an excellent job. 6 years under the gun.
Mm-hmm.
You know, you got creeping on them, trying to get interviews with them, the whole social media together. Well, I thought, man, steal from them, but it's none of my business.
Yeah, you want to be there for them, but people seem to be crossing that line, you know.
Right. You know, they're not looking for best friends and stuff. They're looking for people to help find the murder of their daughters and their grandchildren. You know, they're not looking for BFFs and whatnot. It seems like some people are, you know,
yeah, and they
take
don't
advantage of situations, but that's in everything, bro. So
yeah, they don't need any heroes right now. They are being heroes. They need support.
right. And the worst part, I think, is Kelsey, man, is a young woman like her. It seems like it's almost taken her life too. So hopefully, maybe she can move on past this and get back to something that's, you know, a little bit more normal, man. Because you can see it from the beginning till now. It's just, man, it's worn on her heavy. For a young woman like that, that's tragic, man.
Yeah, and I wonder if they haven't seen the worst of it yet. Maybe, you know, that's mild compared to what they're going to go through this case. So hopefully they can find some strength, you know, through that process.
Yeah, I mean, they don't have a choice in the matter, honest. I mean,
Yeah, they don't.
Sucks. Yeah, it sucks, but, you know, it really sucks that the public gets to sit there and poke and prod at it, but it's part of the American system, man. It needs to be out in the open for everybody to see. That way we know that everybody's getting treated on the up and up. And that's another thing, too, like the death penalty. That's what I was wanting to holler about the Carroll County. What do you think about that, man? Do you think it's even, you know, I hate to say worth it as far as, you know, that goes, but eventually there becomes a cost inhibitor. They're going to spend $5 million, $10 million to put this guy on death row, or are they just going to
hold that thought 1 second. I have a call. This might be Frank.
Call from
Douglas Hale.
Sorry, Douglas. Call back and just call back in a few.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2. Okay.
Sorry about that.
I sent the caller's voicemail. At any time, you may press star.
All right.
To mark this message as read, press 7.
Hold on.
Or to keep it as
The
new,
hell?
press 9.
Yeah, you there, Willie?
Yeah, bro, man.
All right. Sorry about that.
How you good? And that's what kind of on the holler at you. What do you think they're going to do as far as life or death penalty?
I think they're going to consider both. I mean, I think they'll consider what the family has to say, what their wishes are. Not that is going to have any effect, but you think the prosecutor and the deal that he's going to make with the defense and the court and all that, they're going to consider that. So I don't know if they're willing to go through the process, if the state is willing to take the blunt of all that, you know, the cost, and the families is if that's what they want. I mean, I hope they do put him to death.
Yeah. Either. So.
What was that?
It goes both ways on that.
I missed you. Somebody was calling in, and it kind of blocked you.
I said I'm not a proponent of the death penalty. I don't agree with it at all with the state executing people. As far as that goes, it's a whole different thing. But
yeah,
you know, you got to look at it. Is Carroll County equipped enough to run a $5 million tab on the citizens? That's who's going to pay for it. Is that county, the people in that county. You know, for the same outcome. You know what I mean? The guy's 50, but he's going to live another 20 years. You know what I mean? And then another thing is why don't they just do away with, if they're so concerned about that, do away with protective custody and turn him loose into the general population like they used to do, bro.
Well, yeah, but then it's basically like throwing people to the dogs, you know.
Yeah, I mean it is what it is, bro. It's prison. You
Yeah.
know, it is what it is. I understand that they got to protect them and all. That's what gets me, man. Is I don't think the state should kill them, but I also don't think they should be protected like that. They shouldn't get more protection than somebody else. It should be all equal, right?
Yeah, I think when you have a high profile case though, you can't just have some everyday lawyer. Like you have to make sure you're getting a fair trial, not for them. I mean, nobody really gives a shit about this guy, right? Because right now we think he's guilty. We think he's guilty, but the court has an obligation to the Constitution, and if they mess with that, they could put justice at risk. So I think they're doing a really good job right now, and I'm pleased with it. And that's just my opinion.
Yeah, I think everything so far is going great as far as what they're doing and all that, keeping that stuff sealed in case they got something else going on. That's normal. I think they should unseal it eventually, no doubt. That way everybody knows what's up. But yeah, it just blows my mind, man, that this guy was literally 2 miles away from him, right down Bridge Creek, killed at the bridge. I mean, just wow, man. Just amazing.
It's insane.
And what's even going to be more amazing if the police literally had no clue and just fell upon him by accident, or like you said, another crime that was committed or something. That's just going to be wild as hell, man.
I'm going to be upset. So, but I need to be patient. I don't want to get upset too early. But if that is the case, I'll be upset.
Law enforcement are people too, bro. They make mistakes. They're people too, man.
Yeah,
Not only
but
people, they also run under a bureaucracy. So,
but it's not just that. It's yeah, they're definitely people, and people can be misleading. And when people are misleading, it's okay to be upset with them.
No doubt. Yeah, there's definitely something like that going on for sure. That's reason to be upset. But if it's Barney Fife, just blunder after blunder, then you got to look at Carroll County, man. They got a small budget. They're not hiring, high-end detectives and experienced people. They literally happen to get them out of the farm and teach them how to, shoot a gun. And seems like they got a lot of Barney Fifes, which is cool. That's what their county can afford, and that's, it is what it is.
Well, I'm hoping that when this is all...
I live in a bigger city, bro. And
yeah, me too.
There's none of that going on.
Yeah, there was probably 3 or 4 murders that happened just since yesterday and this morning.
Right, I was going to say over this weekend, there's more murders than Carroll County's had in its history where I'm at. So,
but I have a feeling that we're going to find out that they did a great job. And right now, I'm still thinking that Kagan Klein was involved somehow.
Yeah, I don't think they did a good job, man. I think the reason they didn't do a good job is that a lot of this could have been prevented. I mean, a lot of it, all those internet crimes. I mean,
yeah.
Are they the only state that's living in 1990, bro? They've had an internet crimes team in my community here for 15 years. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Like, is the state of Indiana just now catching on that there's an internet? It's kind of weird when it comes to that. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, there's people that are on the internet selling drugs, selling people. Yeah, bro.
Like
anywhere
crazy.
there's a line of commerce, people are going to take advantage of it.
Yeah, Indiana's a crazy place, and I don't know if it's just the way it's kind of put together. If you can hide well there, I'm not sure what's going on, but I mean, I'm sure just like any other state, they have their problems with drugs and crime. But when it comes to like stuff like CSAM, for some reason, Indiana is always listed as like a hub.
Why not? Yeah, it is. And another weird thing, like Purdue, you go to Purdue, one of the leading psychedelic researchers in the country runs an office out of the university there. And I always wondered if that plays into effect with why the people are just kind of different, bro. I mean, maybe it's just that part of the country. I've never been there, so I don't know, but it seems like religion is higher on the totem pole than reality sometimes. Like I don't know, maybe it's just different era. Maybe they're living 20 years back. I don't know, bro. But yeah, I mean, right there in Purdue, there's a leading, I can give you the doctor's name, he's a known researcher in psychedelics. And so, I mean, who knows what they got going on around in there.
Yeah.
You know, just like in California, when LSD hit the market, where do you think it came from, bro? It came from those research facilities that got out through students.
Military too.
So, you know, Keegan Klein starts talking about tripping on psychedelic mushrooms and stuff. I'm starting to wonder if he's into that. If he was one of the first, you know, people in Indiana, the first people to get like 2CB when it came out, and you know all these new designer drugs that they're researching.
Mm-hmm.
That plays into effect. Goes on in Indiana.
Yeah, and then
You still there, bro?
Yeah, sorry. My daughter came in. She was like, "How do I look for school?" I think it also could play a part. Like we're kind of having Indiana's kind of under a microscope, especially for all the people who follow the Delphi case. So I mean, we could. I wonder if you could just put your finger on any state, you know, with your eyes closed, whatever state you land on. If you put it under the microscope, you might find the same things.
Right. I'm not trying to bag on the people of Indiana. It's just, you know, the culture, the religion, culture, all that plays into effect. The place I live, bro, I can rant. I can go on a hardcore rant about where I live and what's wrong with it, and the mentality of people and stuff like that. No doubt about it, bro. They're getting under the microscope, but maybe that's what fixes things, is them being embarrassed on the national scale. Now, maybe that's what prevents the next sheriff from committing fraud or something. You know, maybe he's like, well, wait, you know, if the story gets too big, they're going to be like they came out here during the Delphi deal. We don't want that. They're going to shake, rattle, and roll this whole town. You know, so maybe that's a good thing that the microscope is on them, is maybe how long it's on them. You know, we're doing this 2 years from now, then maybe, yeah, we're bagging on them too hard. But, you know, there's a lot of questions to be answered on, you know, how is that CSAM ring allowed to get so big? And, you know, from that sprung a double murder. You know what I mean? And we don't know what's up with Flora. Is Flora related to that too?
Could be.
You know what I mean?
Arson is a gateway crime, and we have a lot of unsolved murders. We have Jordan Sofer. You know, they haven't even been able to determine if it's a murder 100%. So yeah, there's a lot of problems. The statistics for Indiana are not very good as far as unsolved crimes. So I mean, there are statistics to back up what you're saying, but bringing the truth to light, that's the only way you're going to fix it. So you're right on both points.
Yeah, you got to have some sunlight to disinfect it, but you can't stare at the sun.
Mm-hmm.
Type deal. But that's all I want to say, man. I just want to say, you know, I don't know, happy is not a really good word or inappropriate, but man, it's good not to be thinking about evil and what kind of sick motherfucker would do some shit like this, you know what I mean? And constantly like, well, maybe it's this dude, or maybe, you know what I mean? And having that doubt in the back of your mind, hopefully this will put a rest to that, man, and everybody. I mean, it taxes everybody. You stare at evil so long, you know what they say.
Oh, yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
You know, I'm sure everybody's had to take a break. I did recently take a break from it and came back right as they busted the guy. I was like, wow. You know what I mean? It's crazy how taxing something can be. And I've never even been to the state of Indiana, never met anybody in their family. It was just like every day, bro, I get up, check it. You know what I mean? Every day.
Mm-hmm. Say
a prayer for them. Every Sunday. Put them on the prayer list. You know, and now it's like, still put their family on the prayer list, but it's, I don't know, just feels better.
Yeah,
I'm not the best proponent for police. I think, you know, a lot of them do a lot of shady shit, and you know what I mean? And it's good to finally be like, okay, maybe they are actually looking for the real sick ones, even though they, you know, arrest people for drugs illegally, you know what I mean? Or put people in prison for a profit and, you know, playing the politician's right-hand man.
Yeah, Indiana needs a victory. They need a big win, and I'm still hopeful. But if you are a realist, we might see some fumbling that took place. But I think overall, I think their investigation, I think is going to prove that they were on the right track, and that A lot of this information is connected and leads right to Richard Allen, but that's just me being hopeful.
Right, bro. If we don't see any mistakes, then we know they're probably covering something up. You know what I mean? That's how I kind of look at it. If it's perfect, then something's up with it, man. They're humans. You're talking about a very complex, like they were saying in this. You got the CSAM going on, the murder going on. That, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
If you don't see at least one or two human mistakes, I mean, come on, man. They're covering something up on that. Now, you see a few mistakes, okay, then you start seeing where it's a systemic issue with the, you know, how they report information. Then that's when you jump on it and go, wait a fucking minute, this is not how our community wants this done. Let's fix this. And that way, you know, information doesn't get lost again. So, I mean, there's you know, if something did happen, there's obviously a way to fix that, and that's what needs to be addressed. I don't know, you know what I mean, as far as somebody being fired and all that, figure that out later on. But the issue needs to be resolved with all those citizens of that county, man. I mean, justice, I mean, everybody counts on it. That's what this whole society runs on, that if your neighbor busts in your house and you call the police, they're going to punish that guy for it. Like you said, maybe with this win, it'll give those people with a little bit less amount of that feeling for the goodness of police. Maybe it'll bring some of that back to them and be like, yeah, maybe they are trying to do the right thing.
Well, I guess we're going to find out pretty soon.
Right on, brother. I just wanted to let you know, man, I feel better every day that this goes on as far as getting justice for them girls, man, and moving on to the next one and see if we can't help on something else.
Oh, I'm going to.
Good, Sleuth. Appreciate you.
Thank you.
Your coverage and stuff, man, and it's good talking at you, homie.
Thank you, Willie. Hopefully I'll hear from you again. I appreciate your insight.
Right on, brother. Be good, man.
You too.
Yeah, be good at it, Sleuth.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Later, bro.
Okay, guys. Well, that was a great call from Willie. There's a couple comments I wanted to touch on here. Thanks again, Willie, for that great call. Love you, baby. Okay. All right. Where is this comment? I think it was from Sasha Williams. She said, evil is hiding in plain sight all around us. And it's one of the things that just drives me mad is the fact that we cannot see it coming. There's nothing that they could have done at all. You know, as parents, there's nothing that you can do. You could shelter your kids beyond belief, and tragedy can still strike. You can mess up one or two times, and tragedy can strike. You can live a normal life where you're not suspecting evil, and it will still strike. You just can't see it coming. And that's the part that kind of drives me mad. They really don't have a science for it. I'm going to have to shut my line off for a minute. We're not taking calls right now, so bear with me. We'll open the lines back up here in a little bit. So let me clear this off. Right now, I want to keep the lines open for the Frank Meister and anybody that might call in who was at the hearing today. And then for anybody calling now, we're going to open those lines up here in probably about another 30 minutes.
News tonight. We've been a story that we've been following for years now. We now know the suspect in the murders of Abby Williams and Libby German once out of jail while awaiting his trial. Tomorrow, a judge will decide if the documents surrounding the arrest will be unsealed.
And for the first time since his arrest, the suspect will be back in the same town where he died. More than 5.5 years ago, this happened.
Our Karen Campbell spent the day and got a chance to talk with some of the members of everyone is looking ahead tomorrow.
On Tuesday, all eyes will be on the Carroll County Courthouse, with only one.
It looks like HLN may have put something out. Let me take a look. I think they may have interviewed Mike and Becky.
One entrance being allowed for public use at 9 a.m. Richard Allen, the man accused in the deaths of Libby German and Abby Williams, will go before a judge. For those like Dan Gottschalk, it's one step closer to finding the truth.
This has drug on so long. I think the feeling of the community is, if this gentleman is indeed guilty, we all hope justice is done and that we can at least get this episode of Carroll County history behind us.
For others like Randy Whitaker, he hopes everyone stays safe.
I think there's going to be a tremendous amount of police.
And security. The courthouse opens at 8 a.m. for the public. Seating inside this circuit court will be limited. There are no cameras, cell phones, or electronic devices allowed inside beyond the first floor.
So that makes me wonder what could happen, you know. I hope it don't, but it could.
I think they're probably very concerned about what's going to happen tomorrow and what influences inside this community and outside this community, given the state of affairs in our world. We just hope no one else gets hurt in this process.
Again, Richard Allen expected to appear in court here tomorrow morning in the Carroll County Courthouse, and those in Delphi are hoping safety remains a top priority.
This one was put out about 30 minutes ago. Let's check.
Happening today, the suspect in the Delphi, Indiana murders is due in court. Richard Allen was arrested last month in connection with the 2017 murders of Abby Williams and Libby German. The judge will also determine if sealed documents will be unsealed and released. Reporter Zach Myers from News Nation affiliate WXIN in Indianapolis is live at the courthouse in Delphi with the latest on that. Zach, good morning.
Mitch, good morning. And Richard
It's about
Allen
30
just
minutes ago.
arrived here at the Carroll County Courthouse within the last 10 minutes or so. The public's first glimpse of him, in fact. Two big things that we could learn today. Number one, will the evidence and the documents outlining the case against Richard Allen be released to the public? And two, could Richard Allen actually be granted a bail hearing? Normally, someone charged with murder is held without bond. Attorneys representing Allen, though, say that they've read the sealed court documents and they contain no proof or presumption of guilt. They want Allen released on his own recognizance or reasonable bail, and they filed a motion for a bail hearing. Meantime, turn the evidence against the man accused of killing Abby Williams German nearly 6 Gull of Fort Wayne will decide whether to unseal those documents. It was a highly unusual move when the prosecutor refused to release the PC at the time of Allen's initial hearing last month. One veteran attorney not connected to the case tells us here in Indiana, the presumption is that the prosecutor should release those documents.
Right, but the prosecutor would have to show some overriding public interest. And that's the key. What's in the best interest of the public, best interest of justice and individual? Those are all things the court might consider.
Now, it's also possible that if Judge Gull orders the documents released, the prosecutor will have some time to redact certain portions of it, which would delay the release even further. So we're less than an hour from this hearing starting at 9 o'clock. We're going to be in the courtroom to get all the latest on the judge's decision, the arguments that are made on each side, and anything new we learn from any documents that are released. Mitch, back to you.
Thank you for that, Zach. We know you'll stay on top.
All right. So now we're going to play the waiting game. We should start seeing a lot of reports come out. We'll still be waiting on a call from most likely Frank. Looks like Hoosier Cold Cases is busy. He's broadcasting live. Maybe when he's done, we'll get lucky. Kind of see what happened with him. And I don't know what Randy's up to. He's probably talking with somebody there. Some details. So we'll just hang out in the chat. As soon as I see anything, we're going to go, we'll bring it up on the screen. Michelle, we should be able to see it right away. Let's see if somebody's already posted it. Let's see, nothing out yet. So I think what we'll do right now is utilize this time to go fill up your coffee, go to the restroom, get a bite to eat. We'll kind of reconvene in about anywhere between 10 and 15 minutes. And by then I should have something loaded up for you. But everything right now that's being posted is about 30 to 40 minutes old. So, I mean, we got to start getting some information here soon. So hang tight and I'll be right back with you guys. Thanks, D. We'll tune in. Hey, D, can you post the link real quick? Yeah, D, if you could post that link, please. Because I was on Fox 59 and they didn't. There's nothing going on with. There's nothing live from what I see. So if you have a link, please share it. Oh yeah, if there's others involved, definitely. I could see it being sealed. And that's crazy if that's true. That means this is just an ongoing investigation. Wow, that's insane. Thanks, Teresa. There's nothing live there, Teresa. Oh, okay. Yeah, I'm on there right now. Fox Live. Thank you. Just waiting for the advertisements to clear off the screen, then we'll pull it up. Thank you, D. You the best.
Fort Wayne. She says she wants to keep as many of the hearings here in Carroll County as convenient and as possible. So everybody's gotten to February 17th. Richard Allen will remain in prison while he's holding in a state facility, at least in February 7th. That bail here will be held. The defense argued that there is no demonstrable evidence of his listed in the probable cause, which the defense has read. And so that's when that hearing is. There will be another hearing that was due in mid-January, kind of a process hearing. That's also been put off till February 17th. It was interesting that one of the premier arguments that the defense keeping the probable cause secret instead of protecting the case, you are still saying the prosecution is fueling public interest or public distrust in the process. because the public does not have an idea of what the charges are against the client and what the state is basing it on. So while the defense was making the argument to unseal the probable cause, the prosecution, of course, wants to maintain that seal to keep the media away from witnesses. And as the prosecution said, we believe Richard Allen is not the only person involved in this case.
And Russ, you know, the next question then is, as soon as people hear that, you know what we're
Holy
getting.
shit.
So is Kegan Kline involved? That name brought up at all, and I'm sure we know the answer, but just for those that are watching, because there's that speculation that's happening right now on social media, how do you address that?
No, nobody else was involved in this. You should playing everything close to the vest. There had no specific Kegan Kline allegation that he involved in the homicides of Libby German and Abby Williams, though there have been reports and discussions with Kegan Kline that he was involved in social media communication with Libby the night before her death. But Kegan Kline's name did not come up during this case today, and there's been no connection that links Kegan Kline to the deaths of those two girls.
Russ, explain to our viewers the reason why the prosecutor presented this redacted version of the probable cause and why that would have been done.
I think the prosecutor knew that this judge and state law and Open Records Act are inclined to reveal, unless under extraordinary circumstances, reveal public charging information and probable cause information. I think by coming to court with a prepared, redacted probable cause that he could give to the judge, who I'm assuming most likely has already seen the unredacted, the pure version of it, so she will know what names have been taken out, perhaps what birth dates have been taken out, potential witnesses or persons involved, was his way of saying to the judge, I assume you're going to release this in session anyway. Let me get this to you right now so that then it is in your hands for you to make a decision. She said she would take it under advisement and she would issue a written advisement soonest.
We're out of time. We just want to say thank you, and I know viewers feel the same way, of your expertise and your hustle and getting us such important information out today. We appreciate you.
Very good. Thank you.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you heard it here from Russ McQuaid. Prosecutor has given the redacted version of the probable cause to the judge. We're just waiting for her to release that in case she does. If she does, we'll bring it to you here on Fox 59.
We're out of time. We will see you.
Well, there you guys have it. So we'll talk about this for about 10, 15 minutes, and then we'll wrap it up. All right. So let me jump back into the chat. I'm sure you guys are going crazy right now. Oh, here we go. Jessica, hey. So it is unsealed or no? We don't know yet. It may be redacted and released. Fox 59 says if it is, they will make sure they post it up on their website. So I'll be checking with them throughout the day. And if it does, we'll go live tonight and we'll take a look at it and we'll see what's going on. But from my understanding, the reason the case is open, there's more people involved. I don't know what to say. I'm going to need time to process this information. It's like the worst fear you could have with this case becomes a realization. So you have a family who realizes that the person that was on that bridge is the gentleman that they've been conducting business with. They've been sharing their leisure time with, local watering holes, prescriptions. You know, when you're sick, guess what? You get to go to the killer and get your prescription filled. You need your photos done. Killer of 2 children will have those done for you in about an hour. It's terrifying. Okay. That's one thing to process. He didn't do this alone. Who was he with? How did they know he wasn't alone? And now I think more than ever that Kegan Kline and his little tentacles are connected. I I feel for the families. Apparently, they walked out completely distraught. I mean, this is very upsetting. I don't know if they knew this. So, man, this is going to be this case. It never ends. Fig says lines up with what I've been hearing. Well, that's good. Yeah. Up to 10 witnesses that day. They really need to redact their names and keep them protected. Yep. Man. And you can only think that whoever else was involved is local. You know? Suspicions are going to be high. I don't know. Did Richard Allen's family know more? You know, was somebody close to him involved? Who are his friends who are also known scumbags? There was a rumor that Richard Allen was out of work and may have been on hard times. What was he doing during those months or weeks that he was out of work? Who was he? I don't know. I guess maybe he could have been talking with people who weren't there. All right, give me a minute here. Hello.
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
I think this is Frank. I didn't get the name, but I'm pretty sure it's Frank.
Goodbye.
Oh, shit. Frank, call back. I think that was Frank. Let me take a look. See if we can give him a buzz back. Now, who is Richard Allen hanging around with? You know, January, February. Yeah, because I can see somebody. Okay, if you're using a weapon to control your victims, that's going to work 9 out of 10 times. 8 out of 10 times. That weapon, a child, they're going to freeze. They're going to do whatever you tell them. They're going to believe anything you say. They're just going to be focused in on that weapon. So if you have a round chambered in that weapon in case you feel you need to use it, but your plan is to use a bladed weapon once you get to the secondary location, there may be a point after the crime that you accidentally, maybe you release the magazine and you pull back the hammer and it drops that shell. Maybe you didn't have time to look for it. Maybe it popped up and you couldn't find it. But even that shell casing potentially could have a fingernail or some, not fingernail, fingerprint, and potentially DNA on that shell casing. Sela Stingy says, Fig, how do you know? Are you speculating? Or are you saying your sources have been right up until this point, so you're pretty sure? Yeah, and I'm assuming most of those witnesses were young, right? They probably around Abby, Libby. I'm gonna assume anywhere between like 12 to 18, because you got, Kelsey said some of her friends. You have, I think, some cousins. and some friends. So yeah, all kinds of age ranges, it seems. Crazy. This is really, really crazy, guys. I don't know what to say. This is awful. I mean, now that they know, Richard Allen is involved and involved enough to receive the charges that he has. And he was definitely involved. I don't know if hands on, but definitely equivalent to. If there's other people involved, we have monsters out here on the loose. Maybe even more so than him. Like, who did this? Oh, wow. That would be insane. Lone wolf. No lone wolf. Yeah, the number one question is, why would Abby and Libby cross that damn creek? And if they didn't want to and somebody was able to force him to, that guy couldn't have done it by himself. It would have had to have been two separate crime scenes, and then just lucky enough, as far as people coming and going on those trails, that you had that window and that opportunity not to be seen. But yeah, it looks like there was more. Man, I really wish I would have caught that Fox 59 report sooner. But Lance, I'm going to gather a bunch of information. I'll probably do like a quick little update tonight. I'm not exactly sure what my schedule is, but I mean, it'd probably be like a quick 30 minutes. I just need time to process it. It's really strange. So the affidavit will not be unsealed as of right now. It may be after the judge decides. She hasn't made her decision, apparently. And at any point today, it is possible that she could release a redacted version from what Fox 59 has stated. That's my source of that information. And if you want to go back and see any of that, we did capture that live. But as of right now, the probable cause has not been unsealed. There are other people involved in the crime. Like, just saying that, I feel like my head's going to explode. P says, I don't think Kagan is involved. And when I say involved, I don't mean like he was, he could be involved. I guess vicariously is not the right word. Unbeknownst to him, he could be involved and not even know it. If he's talking to people that are unidentified to him, but through digital forensics and things, those things will tell a different story to law enforcement. So they can see the connections that he can't see, and those connections might lead to actual names, maybe. But I believe that he is connected directly in some way. Well, I wouldn't say directly, but in person, he knows one of the killers involved. or somebody who participated. Because otherwise, because to me, the search plays a huge part in this. It was one of the important dominoes. It might even been Doug Carter's one piece. And if you guys remember, I said in that one live stream where we went over Keegan Klein's transcript, remember I said, find the device, find the killer. So hopefully they found the device and it led to Richard Allen, and now they'll find the others who are involved. Hey, what's up, Bill? Yeah, it's like basically an ongoing investigation. That's what I'm saying, Courtney. Like my stomach hurts. I'm like, oh, like it makes me feel ill. Like it's such a small town. Hello.
Frank.
Hey, what's up, Frank?
To accept, press 1. To send a voicemail, press 2.
What's up, Frank?
What up?
What's going on, man? You're live, buddy.
Yeah, I just got out of that courtroom, man. We're heading to Lafayette to grab some breakfast.
Bro.
Let me tell you something about Richard Allen, man. That dude was so scared shitless when he walked into the courtroom, dude. You could see it in his eyes. He was like he was getting ready to start crying when he walked in there.
Dude, can you believe what haven't we heard on the news yet? First and foremost.
Okay. They canceled his court hearing for January 13th.
Canceled.
They set a bond. Yeah, they canceled it. They set a bond hearing for February 17th, and at that time they're gonna have his first pretrial hearing, which was supposed to be January 13th. Nick McClelland pleaded the reason why not to unseal the probable cause. There's witnesses' names in there. He wants to protect them and protect the public.
Good job, McClelland. Shout out to the prosecutor, McClelland, man. I knew when he jumped in those pressers, you know, he was going to try to take more of a lead, huh?
Yeah. Well, he ended up having a redacted version of a probable cause and already gave it to the judge.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, he had one right during the court. He said, I've already got one redacted in case you decide to whatever. Here's one I've already redacted. You can look over whatever.
Of course.
They whisked Richard Allen in and out of there quick. I couldn't even interview the families because they were in and out of there. I did interview Max Snowberger, though.
Oh, how was Max?
He lives right across the street from the courthouse, and I sat and talked with him for a few minutes, and that was about it. Because everybody was up and leaving as soon as we got out of the courtroom. So everybody and their mother was in there.
What did I guess there's others involved. So what'd you hear about that inside the courtroom? Hey, wait, real quick, hold on. Frank, before we dive into that, because that could just spiral into a long conversation. I want to say good job, buddy.
Appreciate it. Yeah, Nick McClelland did say in the courtroom that they believe that there's more people involved in this case, and that's another reason why they want to keep the probable cause sealed. But the defense made an argument. They were saying that when we read the probable cause, there's not one inkling in here showing that there's other people involved. So we'll just have to see what happens when the probable cause gets released.
But that's what McClelland said that out loud, though. He believes there's others involved.
Yeah, he said it clearly. Everybody heard it.
Holy shit.
Yep, and the judge is a no-nonsense judge. You must believe that.
Oh, yeah. Dude, very impressed.
She came in and
very impressive.
They told us, she said, no one is to make a peep while you're in here.
Oh, man.
Yeah, it was less
be you came and talked to everybody and said, yeah, the judge has ordered everybody to keep their mouth shut. If you can't keep your mouth shut, you will be escorted out of the courtroom.
By your face.
Second row, right behind Richard Allen. We sat right behind Richard Allen, so.
Yeah, tell me what was going on in the courtroom. Try to describe it to us if you could, please.
It was a real quiet way. I mean, it was just real quiet. I mean, there was only probably 4 YouTubers there, and all rest media and family. So we sat with the media guys and talked with them forever, and just basically listened to what was going on and wrote down my notes and everything like that. That was about it. I mean, I said hi to Becky, said hi to Anna.
How were they?
Chelsea was there.
What kind of spirits were they in?
They were in good spirits.
Good.
I mean, but Ellie wasn't gonna let them stick around to be interviewed and be harassed. So they got out there in a heartbeat.
Yeah, I saw Mike. He kind of had him like in a kind of like in a little in a speed race.
Yeah,
so to
they
speak.
were in and out of there real quick. So
yeah, he had it going pretty good in and out. I could tell.
yeah. So, but otherwise, we're on the interstate, man. When I get back, I'll hit you back up.
Hey, that's so awesome. Thank you so much for making the time. I know you're busy. You got there. You got in the courtroom, man. That's great job. That's all I can say, man. Thank you so much.
Appreciate it, guys. I'll see you guys in a little bit.
So awesome. Take care, Frank.
All right, buddy.
Bye. Bam. There you go. Frank the Tank. Boots on the ground. Yeah, he's been the go-to for me right now. Great job. All right, guys, we will hang out here in the chat maybe another 5-10 minutes, and then I'm going to see if I can gather some information. If I feel like we need to go live and kind of talk about it, maybe I can fit in 30, 40 minutes at some point. But otherwise, I'll just keep posting things onto the community page. So if it's just a quick clip here, quick clip there, document here, maybe Richard Allen versus Indiana, the summary updates, but I'll keep you guys posted. And on that note, we will be shutting down the lines completely. So thank you for everybody who called. I apologize to a couple callers that I couldn't get to. Next time. We'll get to you next time, I promise. All right. Glitterbean says, I just don't know how these sickos team up. I'm going to say drugs. Drugs, alcohol. Not being where you should be. Hey, Beach Fairy, you are welcome. Hey, Wanda. Thank you, Derek. Let me know if you're going to be busy later. I'd like to get your 2 cents on this. Shout out to Ruckus, Mike, Nadia, Courtney, TTM Fangirl. That was my pleasure. For those of you who are just tuning in, they did not release the probable cause. They may release a redacted version at some point here in the near future. McClellan, the prosecutor for Carroll County, according to Frank, who was there in person, by the way, stated that McClellan verbally out loud stated that there were more people involved. And That has completely blown my mind and explains a lot of the shenanigans that were going on earlier. So everything's making complete sense to us. And let's get that tip line out there. Let's keep covering this case. Let's keep bringing attention to it and supporting everybody who's been affected by it in a negative way. Trying not to step on any toes in our amateur sleuthing. Beyond complicated. Like, dude, you ain't getting bail. You need to start talking. Yep, no more lone wolf. I'm even thinking after the fact, Bodacious. What do you think? Maybe he came home and his neighbor was out, or one of his family members, he's covered in blood. And they didn't come forward. That's a crime. You will be guilty after the fact. Serve some serious time for that. But I think there was other people there. Thank you, Leah. Ophelia explains Richard Allen's charges. They can prove he was there, but not that he wielded the actual weapon. Yeah, he needs to start talking, Tara. 100%. That's crazy, Duke. Yeah, you got to keep all the cards on the table. You can shuffle them around, but don't throw them off that table. If any case has showed us, it's not over till it's over. It's the strange case of the Delphi murders of Abby and Libby. Very bizarre. From the way law enforcement has handled it, from the way the media has perceived it, top to bottom. Very strange. Hey, Vanessa, Nomad, good to see you guys. Bill from the Delphi Timeline. Make sure you guys go check out Delphi Timeline. Bill says it would be incredibly difficult for one person, especially a tiny man like RA, to move two bodies in that terrain. Yeah. And not be seen on top of that. It's almost like it was his duty. Something was down the hill. His job, go down the hill. I think maybe Kagan Klein's job was to get their attention, to gain access to them, to fool them, and then hand off that information to somebody. So it sounds like they may have been targeted. Remember early on, we looked at the possibility of Kagan Klein just being a tool, for his skills, and that he didn't appear to be a killer. We considered that. We talked about him being in a room full of scumbags and talking about him catfishing somebody and mentioning the name, and somebody in that room becomes interested. Like, oh, really? Like, I know that person, and then them coming up with some kind of strange plan, some perverted plot. So yeah, maybe it's going to lead to something really more similar to that. Known scumbags. that's going to do it, guys. Thank you so much to everybody who participated in the chat and who hung out. We'll see if I have any updates later on in the day, guys. Take care.